The World Economic Forum kicks off this week in Davos, Switzerland. World and business leaders, academics, and celebrities will all be gathering for 3 days in the Swiss resort town in the Alps. The White House says President Trump plans to be there. To coincide with the event, there is a new survey out that looks at trust in 28 countries. This year, it found the U.S. suffered a record drop in trust. My colleague Rena Ninan spoke with the survey company's president and CEO, Richard Edelman, about the findings.
Richard, what do you think has really contributed to this overall drop of opinion in the U.S.?
There are no objective facts. And when that happens, people have no foundation of truth. And they feel very destabilized. They feel as if they're on a roller coaster or in a dark room. And they are actually also deeply looking for objective experts. This is a big change. Before, everybody relied on a person like yourself. Now, actually, they're looking for academics or people who don't have a bias.
You know, this also falls along age and income lines. When you break this down further at age and income, what do you find?
Basically, younger people and those with higher income and those with higher education have a somewhat higher degree of skepticism about what's going on in the United States. But you also have a transversal decline. Let's be clear, everyone feels at sea.
The informed public in the U.S. is now the least trusting of those surveyed. 28 countries were surveyed in this. Tell me more about that.
We've never seen an implosion of trust by a country as profound as in the United States this year, from position 6 to position 28, below South Africa and Russia. That's an achievement. And what we now see is there's no gap in opinion between the opinion elites and the mass population. It used to be a 20-point gap last year. And that drop was actually led down by government in the U.S. 30-point drop among informed elites for government. And the rest of the institutions followed that, down 20 or more points. So it's a real vote of kind of no confidence in the leaders in our institutions.
Your findings pretty much say that Americans are putting more faith in companies than in the government. What do you make of that?
It's a big turn of affairs. Business has a moment in time here where it can do the right thing and talk to people about how it does its work. It's trusted by 70+% of its employees, so you have to go from inside out. Talk to your customers, talk to your employees, and then let them talk into the broader social media.
So this is pretty much saying we trust our businesses to get stuff done more than we trust the U.S. government.
65% say they don't want CEOs to wait for government to make change. They want CEOs to lead the change.
You talk about trust, and it sounds here that the media is now the least trusted institution. What do you make of that, and what did you find?
Well, trust in the media has actually now become lowest in the world because basically people are looking for objectivity and they're seeing opinion. They're actually seeing that in search and social, they're having such a difference of opinion, they can't get any fact base. And also people are living in their own little thought bubbles. So if you're a Republican, you know, you have a certain set of media, and Democrat the other.
You've listed this year's report, The Battle for the Truth. What's going on here in specific when you look into this? Because while they are down on the media, they're up on journalists. How do you explain that divide?
About half the people in the United States are still involved with mainstream media, but the other half are totally relying on search and social. And that means what their friends are experiencing or whatever somebody posts. So the lack of sort of a center here is really the problem. And everybody's going with reinforcing their own views.
Talk to me a little bit more about China, because we talk about it a great deal in the media, but what did you find in particular about feelings towards China?
Well, in fact, trust in government in China is what's driving all institutions' trust up, whereas in the United States, trust in government is plummeting. It's down 30 points among opinion formers. So, you know, the move in both different directions. And in China, you see a rising middle class, global brands now, such as Tencent and Alibaba, and they're feeling really good about being, in a sense, the global leader, while we've, as Americans, retreated into our shell.
When you talk about Davos, there was a lot of criticism that it's very male-dominated. And this year it's going to be co-chaired by, I believe, 7 different women. What do you make of that?
I'm so happy. I have 3 daughters.
Do you really?
Yeah, but beyond that, it's really clear that women are leading the world. Indra Nooyi of PepsiCo, Christine Lagarde from the IMF, Mrs. Merkel, still informed leader of Europe. This is just recognition of reality for me and a big statement by the World Economic Forum.